What's up everyone, welcome back to Switchcraft. It's a great day to be a gamer. Could the very landscape of the video game industry change 5 years from today? What would it take to flip the very bedrock of video games on its head? Is it possible in this reality that Microsoft buys out Sony? That's what I'm going to talk about today, so let's get to it. Okay, full disclosure, I'm no economist, market speculator, or industry insider. But a recent Sony press conference got me thinking. 5 years from now, 4 cups of coffee, 3 hours of researching, 2 console generations, and 1 tinfoil hat later, I think I can draw a line. An unlikely line, but a line nonetheless, from today to tech giant Microsoft buying out, taking over, or whatever you want to call it, of Sony Interactive Entertainment. No, I'm not high, and my blood alcohol is below the legal limit. I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so I'm not biased. At least I'd like to think so. In a recent press conference, Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida, when talking about the recent heat his company has gotten for standing in the way of crossplay, responded by saying, "On cross-platform, our way of thinking is always that PlayStation is the best place to play. Fortnite, I believe, partnered with the PS4 is the best experience for users. That's our belief." He also went on to say, "But actually, we already opened some games as cross-platform with the PC and some others, and so we decided based on what is the best user experience, that is our way of thinking for cross-platform." This guy should be a politician with his epic double-speak abilities. What a nothing burger non-answer. I hope something was lost in translation because it would appear as though he's deflecting and not really giving us any information. We think the PS4 is the best place to play, so no crossplay. But we've opened up the games to crossplay. Which is it? The apparent level of arrogance on display here is reminiscent of the same Sony at the peak of the PS2 popularity. The PS2 is doing so well, Sony thought they could sell a $500 to $600 Blu-ray player called the PS3, make it a nightmare to develop for, eliminate backwards compatibility, and everyone would buy it. We all saw how wrong they were. Sony lost billions that console generation, and many speculated that it was almost something that sunk them. What they had going for them was winning the Blu-ray HD DVD war and the Grand Slam home run that was the PS4 to follow. If they make the same mistakes this time around, with the media war over, a PS5 made with the same mindset as the PS3, leading to an underperforming console generation in the PS5, and Microsoft now an established player in video gaming, a buyout of Sony Interactive Entertainment wouldn't be impossible. I told you it'd be an unlikely line, but a line nonetheless. But to the 2 important questions, could Microsoft and would Microsoft do it? First, let's tackle could they. Yes they could. Now would they? Just kidding. We're going to unpack that a little bit. Microsoft is currently worth a little over $650 billion. Its gaming division is worth over $9 billion and growing profitably. The Sony Corporation is currently worth just over $72 billion and is propped up financially by its gaming division and its Japanese insurance company. As things stand right now, my premise would be pretty unreasonable. But if my scenario plays out, with Microsoft projected to be a $1 trillion company by 2020 and a drop in value for Sony like we saw a couple of years after the PS3 of anywhere near 80%, the numbers begin to add up in Microsoft's favor. Microsoft doesn't need to become a $1 trillion company, and Sony's value doesn't need to drop by almost 80% for this to become feasible. I told you it would be an unlikely line, but it's a line nonetheless. Okay, now we're going to talk about if Microsoft would buy out Sony if they could. This one's a little harder to answer because we have no history or objective numbers to slug into a calculator. That being said, we know that Microsoft sees Sony as its primary competitor in the home console market. Even I'll admit, Nintendo is that weird kid who can draw really well in the back of the class, but has that weird tick and frazzled hair. Sony and Microsoft sit at the front of the class, comb-overs and pocket protectors in full force, battling it out on the world stage for supremacy. With moves like Game Pass and a possible subsidized console in the future, we also know that Microsoft has the means to think outside the box and make moves no one else thought they would. If the PS5 underperforms, Microsoft could line up Sony in their crosshairs and pull the trigger on an acquisition for pennies on the dollar. This would instantaneously give them dozens of new first-party IPs, leapfrog them as a dominant force in the Japanese market they've never been able to crack, and make their biggest competitor their biggest asset. Phil Spencer is doing well at the Big M, climbing the ranks, and he's always been a bit of an oddball. Is he crazy enough to do something this bold if the timing is right and the numbers make sense one day down the road? Time will tell. I told you it'd be an unlikely line, but it's a line I'm drawing nonetheless. Look, I know on face value this sounds like the mumblings of a madman at best, and at worst just another clickbaity piece of YouTube trash. But Sony's acting so short-sighted and so arrogant. Again. They should look over their shoulder at the whale looming in the distance. I don't expect this video to be well received. I expect it to get somewhere between maybe 40 to 50 views in the coming weeks, a bunch of downvotes, and lose a bunch of subs, at which point it'll be forgotten by time, never to be mentioned or even referenced again. But this is the beauty of having a YouTube channel of my own. I can say out loud the crazy shit I'm thinking, try and make the case for it, and see what happens. Besides, isn't it probably more likely that the big corporation Sony sees past the dollar they can make today by being greedy for the millions they can make down the road by learning from their mistakes and focus on the gamer by making the best experience for everyone? Ha! See you in 5 years. It's a great day to be a gamer. Switchcraft out.